Alright, well, welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be going through pretty much the top 5 things, although I'm not going to number them 1 to 5, that we are going to need when starting off in Dayz. So if that's something that's going to interest you, then stick around, and this might be the video for you. Again, as we find a tin of cola straight off the bat, so that's good because that is going to be one of the top 5s that we're going to need. So if that's something that's going to interest you, like I said, this is probably for like new starters. If you're experienced with Dayz, maybe this isn't the video for you, but it's just going to be 5 items that pretty much when I'm playing that I don't leave a base without. Obviously drink, as we just see, is going to be one of them. So not only are we going to go through it, but we're also going to try and find the items as well. So at the minute we've got a backpack on. I've emptied it out, so the only thing we've got now is the thing we found, which is a cola. We're going to need to craft some rags, but I don't think I'm going to stop that because obviously that's damaged. So we are going to craft some rags. Rags are going to be one of them, and as you can just see, you can get rags from any pretty much clothing that you can find about the place. So once we find a bit of extra clothing, is there some in here? Yes, there is. So these are the sort of places you can look. Obviously they're in a better condition. I think they're worn. So that's the sort of thing we're going to do. We're going to look now today to get some rags, some drink, and then we're going to go through the other stuff that we're going to need. As we are on a little treasure hunt today for the 5 items that we need. Okay, like I said, we've got drink, we've got rags. There's going to be a few other stuff. Obviously not zombies. Call it just a work hazard. But yeah, not only that, I'm going to show you what we can do with rags as well. Obviously there's a few things we can do with rags. Number 1 is obviously healing yourself if you've been cut. At the moment you can see we haven't been cut, so that's fine. But we're also going to show you how to craft a fireplace, and you can do that using rags. And boom, we're going to take that. That's a flare. Now we can use that obviously for 2 things. A couple of these things have different purposes. So that can either be used as a light if you don't have a glow stick on you, and I know we don't at the minute, but number 1, it's not that dark. And number 2, we can find a glow stick again. We are going to use that to light the fire. If you look at the bottom of our stats, we've got a cold, so we're sick. Our temperature isn't the highest either, our food is quite low, and our health has dropped slightly. So we are going to try and create a fireplace, and we're going to look some food. Now these trees often, and boom, an apple. So these trees do often spawn fruit, and there's another tree there. We'll just check this out. So it's a good place to start for basic food. And there's another apple there, but you can see it's a damaged apple. We're not going to want to eat that because it's going to make us sick. So already, straight off the bat, we've got a way to make a fire with the flare or light. So that's a bonus. You know, matches would have done the same if you're playing on a modded server. I have got mung guards on this, so we could also get a lighter, a Zippo lighter if you wanted to. But we're going to be looking at food, drink, flare, which we've already got. Okay, the other item that we're going to look for as well is a knife. Now, to me, a knife is one of the most important items in the game. You can do so much with it. Obviously, number 1 is a melee weapon if you wanted to, but you can also get sticks out of it to make fireplaces. You can get bark. You can make a torch out of it using the sticks, bark, and etc. And obviously your rags. You can make a torch. Again, it's something you can see, or it's another way of lighting a fire. So we're going to be looking for a knife. Obviously, there's more rags there if you wanted to craft more rags. What I'd say is, if you want proper rags, head to a hospital, because you're going to get the bandages then, which come in a roll. Now, number 1, I think there's a bit more of them, and they tend to be quicker. They stop the bleeding quicker than a normal rag would. Now, there's pliers. On a normal start to a game, I would pick them up because I'd be looking at building a base. But for this demonstration only, we're going to leave them behind. Okay, I'm just going to look for the essentials, and pliers at the minute aren't really a top essential. So let's get looking for a knife. Alright, well, I'm going to be honest, right, it did take me about 25 minutes to find a knife, so I'm going to cut straight into it. I did find one in the shed. It took, like I said, it took me 25 minutes of running around, but we did come across a knife eventually. The other thing to do with a knife as well, I know I mentioned just now, but the other thing you can do as well is if you kill an animal, you also need something to cut it up to get the meat out of it, or if you can use the pelts as either warmth, or if you're playing on a server with traders, you can sell them wherever. But that's another reason why obviously a knife is important. You need to get the meat out of it, etc. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to show you now how to combine these items really, how to get a fire going. So firstly, for the fire, I've got my knife. Okay, we're going to need some sort of fuel for the fire. So we're going to look at sticks. So for sticks, you need a bush, and then really after identifying your bush of choice, we're going to take the closest bush. It is just a matter of using the knife to get the sticks. Sticks come in 2 sizes. Okay, you either get the long sticks, which you can cook food on, meat if you needed to, or the short ones. For this, I only want it for building a fire, so I'm straight away going to split the long stick down to short ones, and we're going to get a couple of sticks. Like I said earlier with a knife, the rags have a couple of different purposes, okay, like stopping bleeding. If you combined rags with your sticks, you can craft a fireplace. Okay, so there's just pretty much drag them together. You've got a choice of torch or fireplace. So firstly, we're going to do a fireplace. We'll get a fireplace going, and I'm pretty sure we can light it with our flare. I'm certainly going to try, but if not, I'll show you other ways then we can go about lighting the fire. So once you've got your fireplace started, we can add some fuel to it. We're going to firstly try light this with a flare. You can light and cook on a fire with just sticks. You could before the new update. I'm going to be honest, I haven't tried since the new update, but this isn't giving me the option to ignite. So what we're going to have to do now is look for another way that we can get this fire lit, okay? So I can't combine it with anything. You've got the flare lit. I don't know why I'm trying it with zero. I'm just proving a point, but there's nothing else you can do with the flare. So what I'm going to try and do first is get more fuel for it. Once we get more fuel for the fire, I'm going to try and add some logs to it, and then we'll try that, and then we'll go from there if that doesn't work. So again, using your knife, it's easy. What it does enable you to do is you cut down small trees. You can't do big ones, but small trees, and you can get a couple of logs. As you can see, we've got 2 logs now from a small tree. So we're going to go back, we're going to combine that with a fireplace, and then we're going to see if that does work and to see whether we can get that obviously fire lit then using the flare. And if that doesn't work, then we are going to combine, we are just going to make a torch. So again, we've added them to our fireplace. You can see our fire's looking bigger. It hasn't given us the option to ignite. So now I'm going to show you how to make a torch. Again, a torch is multi-purpose. You can either use it for light in the dark, or you can use it obviously for igniting a fireplace. So for a torch, again, we need to find a bush. We can use this one. We need a couple of sticks. So we've got sticks, and you see how important the knife is. So far, we've pretty much used it for everything to do with lighting a fire and getting fuel for the fire, and obviously that can be cooking meat and etc. as well. And the fire, obviously, you keep warm with it. You can cook in it. Obviously, it's a light in the dark as well. So to craft then a torch, what you're going to need is to combine the sticks with rags. It gives you the torch often. So again, you've got craft fireplace or craft torch. You want to pick the craft torch option. We are then going to try and light the torch then with the flare on the floor. So we just need to get the torch off the floor. Where's it gone? So get the torch off the floor, and then we're going to light it then using the flare, and then we're going to use the torch then to ignite the fire. I know this is a bit potchy would be the best words probably, but it's a way to enable you and obviously to get a fire going. A fire can be essential in Dayz, especially when it starts raining. So then we're going to use that to ignite the fire. So we've got that fire lit. So far during this video, obviously you're going to need food and water is essentials. Don't go anywhere, don't leave base without them, or I wouldn't anyway. Food and water, rags for either lighting fireplaces, or you can even craft a fireplace and put it in your backpack if you've got the space to save you making one when you're on the ground. So you've got food and water, you've got your rags, you've also got a knife. And then obviously in our case you want some sort of way of lighting a fire or having light if it gets dark. In this case we found a flare. If I hadn't found the flare, I would have looked for something, you know, like matches or a lighter, or even a glow stick or a camel light or whatever they call it in the game. Something to get light obviously when it gets dark, and obviously then you can get, there are other ways of making a fire. You don't need to have a flare obviously like we did. I just did that for an example because that's what I found and came off a zombie. But future plans out for the video, obviously I'm doing a few hints and tips. Like I said, these are for basics, pretty much beginners. If you're experienced with Dayz, you're probably not going to want to, probably this video hasn't made any relevance to you, but if you've learned something from it, great. Going forward, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do a complete video because I'm going to be opening my server up. So I'm going to be doing a complete video about starting off. Now, this is pretty much the items I pick up while starting off. So it's how to start from on the coast with nothing, to how you can build yourself up, get a little base, etc. It's not going to be like an episode video where it's like episode 1, find this, 2, find that. It's just probably going to be about half hour of gameplay, and then maybe a week later another half hour of gameplay, just to show what I've got and what I've built, etc., and how to go about it. If that's something you're interested in, stick around. And guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.